From the words of Frederick Douglass himself in the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave, he says, "For they had much rather see us engaged in those degrading sports than to see us behaving like intellectual, moral, and accountable beings." He also says on page 73, "I taught them because it was the delight of my soul to be doing something that looked like bettering the condition of my race." If you haven't read this book, this is the first one that I want to mention and bring up to you guys for this video for Black History that starts Saturday, February 1st. So let's get into it, because I have 10 books and I added one, and then I have a +2 for kids. So it says 10, but I actually got 13, but it's okay because you're gonna love them. So let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people. If you're new here, I am Darnaya Darice, first name, middle name. Here I do lifestyle motivation and bookish content. So if you love positive content, if you love to be encouraged, uplifted, and elevated with personal development, and love just getting book recommendations, all things, and mini vlogs, all the things, go ahead and subscribe to your girl. Join the Keep Rising crew, as I like to call us, and hit the notification bell so you can get alerted anytime I post a video or go live. I haven't gone live yet, but let me know if you would tune in if I go live. All right. And if you are not new here and you done watched all my videos, thank you so much. Okay, thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. Let me know what you plan to read for the month of Black History, and it's also the month of romance. But listen, every day for me is Black History, okay, because we live it. Okay, let's be truthful about it. Okay, but to honor specifically, I do have my own TBR. I did do a video on that, which I'll leave in the description box, which you can binge watch after this one. But in this video, I'm going to show you some books that I haven't seen any other booktubers mention yet or make light of, and they're kind of forgotten books that I want people to remember, and maybe you should go check them out. And that first one is what I showed in the intro. This was such a great book. This is Frederick Douglass in his own words. Okay, so not only read what people have to say about him or other perspectives, but read our leaders, our activists, just anyone, read their own words as well. He also includes a couple speeches, or there are a few speeches that are included in this book. One of them is "What to the Slave is the 4th of July," and he really dives down on why he thought it shouldn't be celebrated by Black people at that time, and in the way that it's meant, because it's really not independence. Okay, but we're gonna moving on. All right, so it's a great speech. I encourage you to go read it, jot down your thoughts on that as well. And there's some other speeches that are in here. The Heroic Slave, and it is a Self-Made Men. It's an excerpt of that is in here, and it's another one, the Skin Aristocracy in America, and the Church and Prejudice. Okay, so it lists all the speeches that were delivered. You probably can't see it, but this is a great book to pick up. I got this from Second and Charles when I got the prints as well, but you can get, this was like an edition they had. So that's one. Also, one you may not have thought of, I don't know if you all know Iyanla Vanzant, but she had a book called Interiors. It was a Black woman's healing in progress. This was such a great read. Now, it's a thick one, okay? This is well over 400 pages, but it is sort of like one of her autobiographies. It's a memoirs. It's a portion in her life, and she goes into such blunt detail. This was such a great read. I love the purple color. If you haven't noticed from my pictures and some of my thumbnails, purple is my favorite color, and specifically the lavender shade. But this was such a great empowering read. I encourage you to read this one if you haven't already. Then Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart. This follows a character named Okonkwo and his life and stories, and it's very much a good book. It is fairly a quick read. It's just barely over 200 pages. So, and it's still on some reading lists. I've seen it on high school reading lists. So, from homeschool co-ops that are for Black homeschoolers. So if you haven't read this, go check it out, because that is another classic that you can check out. Next, we have Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. This is a quick, short read. So if you have a lot of intensive reads for February, try to incorporate this one. This one it's a little over 150 pages, and it's a great read. You get the perspective of Booker. Unfortunately, sometimes Booker get cast under a certain light that isn't true. Please read his words. He does his common phrase, or his well-known phrase is "Cash your buckets where you are," and he was trying to encourage Black people to build where they are, use what you have, come together and use our resources so we can build our own schools and things of that nature. Tuskegee University, which I am in Alabama right now. I'm not from Alabama, but that's where I am right now. And we're not that far from Tuskegee. He had the students working. He said, "You want a lunch hall? You got to build your lunch hall." Okay. He also talks about some religion and how pastors were behaving at his time and what he thought we should be focusing on. So it's a very good read. I encourage you to read that. Also, Zora Neale Hurston, you know this. Don't forget about this book, Their Eyes Were Watching God, which is a great one. You see her picture there. This is just a great classic read to catch up on or reread. I read this before, but I may go ahead and reread it again at some point this year. Now, we all know Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, but Maya also has a book, and it's Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. Again, this is another quick read. It is not long. It's easy to read. It's about a little over 130 pages. It is very good. You know, Maya, she don't hold anything back. She's very upfront with you, and especially if you're a woman, ladies, this is a good read for you, and encourage you to stand on your own choices. You know, you may have made some mistakes. You probably have had some decisions which you would like to change, but she's like, stand on it. We all make mistakes. We learn from them. We grow from them. Don't let anyone hold you down, hold you back because of past issues or mistakes or anything like that. Now, I don't know if you remember Sister Soldier. This girl, she is hilarious. But she had a memoir or autobiography, if you will, called No Disrespect. And she goes all in. She's very blunt. I believe she's from New York. This girl don't play. And she talks about experiences she went throughout her life, and also being an activist and standing up, and her thoughts on the Black condition at the time. So go check that out. Also, the autobiography of an ex-slave man. This is James Weldon Johnson. This is a very short read. So a lot of these are short reads, okay? A lot of these are short reads. This is barely 100 pages. This is a quick read, and you can learn about him. And it says, one of the most prominent African Americans of his time, James Weldon Johnson, was a successful lawyer, educator, social reformer, songwriter, and critic. But it was as a poet and novelist that he achieved lasting fame. So it's a very quick read. You can learn a little bit more about James Weldon Johnson. Okay, we are getting through these pretty quickly because I don't want to waste your time. It's Friday that I'm taping this, January 31st. It is the last day of January. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you're having a great month, a great year. I hope you're staying encouraged. It's a lot going on, but listen, do what you can that's in your control to uplift your life and to elevate. Shameless plug. It's Durante Lamar, Christ held up. Look at that picture. Ain't he gorgeous? Ain't he gorgeous? But this is, if you're looking for a quick short read and you're into spirituality or religion and have questions or want to know if anyone has been discerning or really studying to get in the deeper root of how things came to be or how people behave and act, or examining the historical context, like getting deep into research and the complexities of specifically Christianity, this mostly deals with, then pick this up. It is on Amazon. It's a great quick read, and it's more so to get you thinking. And so I did like it. He poses a lot of questions that are have been in the mind, okay, in some of our minds, and kind of have you. It's a book that is just meant to leave you thinking and lead you onto your own research and really studying that if you want to study more into that. So I encourage that. So that's an extra bonus. Okay. All right. The next one is Ida B. Wells. Okay. And this is the Memphis Diary of Ida B. Wells, an intimate portrait of the activist as a young woman. And it was edited by Miriam DaCosta Willis. Okay, here's another image. This is such a great read. You actually read Ida's words here. It's her own little diary entries and things of what's been going on in her life in Memphis. And she was a teacher. This lady, she stood on business. She did not play, but she went through a lot of issues and things during her activism. Of course, poverty, dealing with discrimination, and how to maneuver with educating young Black people during her time. So this, if you haven't heard of this, go check it out. Learn more about Ida. She's another great. Okay, I'm trying to put these books somewhere where they won't fall. Another one, Nikki Giovanni. Don't forget about Nikki. This is Ego Trippin', and this is actually a poetry collection. Okay, so again, it's a short read. It's not even past 60 pages. And you get a list of poems, and that's kind of how it looks like in this one. But it's so refreshing, so good. If you love all your other classic writers, go check out Ego Trippin' and other poems for young people. I'm just trying to see, like, she has a poem called Ego Trippin', revolutionary music, no reservations, intellectualism, Black power, poem for Flora, beautiful Black men, poem for Black boys. So she just have a great collection of poems in this book. So I would suggest to check that one out too if you're looking for something else to read during February. And listen, you don't have to only read these in February. Check these out anyway throughout the year when you have time. Another one, if you're looking to get into deep on history, this is John Henrik Clarke, another historian that we were blessed with. He was just so straightforward. He did not play. But this book by him is Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism. And this book is, again, really short. It's barely over 100 pages. So these are short reads that you can really dive into to learn a little bit more. But he highlights what Black peoples across the world and Africans during slave trade, what we actually went through and how vicious that played a part into us. And so he examines the colossal of dehumanizing of a people with a minute details, step by step, and he chronicles reveals that the African Holocaust was the greatest single crime in the world committed against people. And of course there have been many atrocities and genocide from different cultures, different areas, different people, and we just have to learn how to be better humans to each other, in the sense of not dehumanizing other people because they have different cultures, different races, different thoughts, different ideals, different ideas. Please, please don't dehumanize other people, okay? There are many different variables that play into who people are, many different experiences, and so we have to keep that in mind. But that is a great read as well if you're looking into studying more history. Okay, so I told you I was giving you more than 10. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, now the 2 bonus books for children, for kids and adults, you can actually read these, but I used to read these for when I homeschooled, and that is The Pot of Wisdom. These are Nazi stories. This is Arua Bajo and Baba Wagwe Diakite. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But these give Nazi stories, you know, instead of just going over the stories that we're used to, like Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast, just the other things. You can tell the stories that come from Black art, Black people as well. And it's beautiful. You get images in this book here. And it tells the stories of a Nazi as a spider, basically. And you see a Nazi spelled different ways. Here it's N-S-E, and then you can, sometimes you may see N-S-I. But these are such great stories. A Nazi the spider is kind of like telling parables, and he's basically very wise, and sometimes he's posed as a trickster, but it's kind of teaching you and giving you some wisdom in each every story. So that's a good one. And last but not least, thank you if you stayed this long. Ma'am, sir, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video. Also in the comments, let me know any other books that you haven't seen mentioned a lot in the booktuber world, or just in general that people talk about, or that you may be reading for next month or anytime this year. Let me know, because I love learning about new books. I love to read. I love to learn. You know, we keep rising, like I said, over here. And don't forget to subscribe, okay? But the last but not least is Schomburg. OMG. This version is by Carol Boston Weatherford. This is a big book, and it is The Man Who Built a Library. And it kind of walks you through a little biography of Arturo. He was a bibliophile, and she highlights that in the prologue here. Look at these images. Look at that. Like, it's this book is gorgeous. But Arturo, he was something else. Now, as a husband, if you dating him, now that's something different. But he was something else. Even as a kid, so it's like when he was in 5th grade or something, he told his teacher, like, we want to learn about Black history. That's not Black history. This is Black history. And so he, instead of waiting for somebody to teach them, he went and built his own library. He started collecting books and collecting collections. And I believe that his library showcase is still in New York. But I kind of want to go there to see his collection as well. But this is such a great read. Please read this to your children, your teens, yourself. Read about Arturo Schomburg. If you want a thicker book about him, you can also look that up for other things. But these pictures are gorgeous. Now, you will see him also referenced as author, but no, his name is Arturo, okay? That was his name. And he sort of, when he came to the U.S., he sort of sometimes went by author, or they called him author for appeasement. No, we don't have to change our names. Keep your name, okay? But it's also being author in this language, so it's fine. But this is such a great read. Please remember our leaders. It is not just enough for us to remember them and read their work. We should be putting things into practice. We shouldn't be relying on people to teach us about our history. We shouldn't be relying on people to educate our children. We should be doing that. And if your children if you have kids and they happen to go to public school, please remember that education does not stop with someone else or the teacher. Teach your kids at home. Have them read, have them learn, have them study. Teach them how to think on their own and how to analyze, how to critically think and come to their own conclusions, because they're going to need those skills in this day and world, and so do we. Okay, well, I hope you liked this reading list. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. And listen, I am closing up the Housemates. Oh, well, I'm on the second book of the Housemaid series. I'm on reading The Housemaid Secret, which I'll be finishing today, and that will conclude my January read. So if you haven't watched my January wrap-up video, that link will also be in the description so you can see what I read. I read 8 books in January, okay? And then I have 7 more for February, and they're thick. Ooh, the 7 I chose, but if you haven't seen my February TBR, which I just posted recently, by the time I'm taping this video, but go ahead and watch it. That's also in the description. And without further ado, in the meantime, in between time, always remember to keep rising.
Taking, just be. Don't take it. Taking, just don't be.